hoping that by now you have known or you know basically what Microsoft for Startups is from Ali, what we do and why we do it. Um, the way I would put it is that we're a team of four. Ali and Philip, they focus on our partnerships and our deal flow, while Noor and I, Noor is our community manager, and we focus on the in-program experience. So this means that once a startup is onboarded, we make it a point that should they want to be part of our community, we always offer them a plethora of opportunities. And as part of Microsoft for Startups, I act as a CTO in residence. So a lot of times my startups are early, they're understaffed, they have a visibility of what they're doing, but they don't have a visibility of the market, the current market, the region they're trying to expand to. I help them with that. I leverage my community experience as a Microsoft customer, Microsoft partner, and Microsoft distributor before joining Microsoft for Startups. In this session, I'll be talking about how Microsoft's investment in the financial sector technology affects fintechs, particularly fintech startups, and how Microsoft for Startups helps bridge the gap in between those two ambitions. Please, this is a very casual call. So if you do have a question, don't drop it in the chat. Just unmute, ask your question. I'll be more than happy to answer. Uh, I'm open to discussions. Bring whatever you want on the table. Just make this extremely comfortable and casual. If at any point you lose my audio, you're not able to hear me, I'm looking blurry, just let me know, and so that I can fix that early on. So why am I talking about the Microsoft Financial Services? A lot of people do not know much about Microsoft Financial Services unless they're working in enterprise. So to the best people to talk about financial services is particularly the people who built it. So I'm running you a very short video of what Microsoft Cloud for Financial Services is. And I hope by then this will like set the stage for the subsequent information that I'll be sharing with you. If at any point you do not hear that video, let me know.
Economic pressures and competitive challenges are driving the financial services industry to create innovative solutions that will enable sustainable growth. Customers expect personalized service and products, as well as guidance to manage their financial health and protect their assets. Employees are given an extensive set of tools, but they also need a connected experience to become more productive and capabilities to help them achieve their goals. Built to empower the industry, the Microsoft Cloud for Financial Services is designed to help manage data to empower employees, differentiate experiences, and help fight fraud, while facilitating security, compliance, and interoperability. This cloud helps you to improve employee productivity and experience, optimize processes, and enhance customer experience through comprehensive insights and personalized interactions. Powered by an industry data model and tools, this cloud helps enable Microsoft's partners and customers to extend the value of the platform with additional solutions, as well as facilitate security and compliance. Microsoft Cloud for Financial Services. Empower, innovate, achieve more on the trusted cloud.
Microsoft.
So translating this in non-Microsoft terms, what is this? This is basically Microsoft leveraging Azure, Dynamics, and Modern Workplace to build financial services, financial products on top of them and provide them to financial institutions. So basically they have a couple of tools or services that are in collaboration with partners and system integrators, managed service providers who help manage data to deliver the differentiated experiences, empower employees, combat financial crime, boost security, compliance, and interoperability. And this is all in terms of traditional enterprise solutions. So with this much investment in workforce marketing visibility, you've seen that video, some of this effort is going to spill over. With the continuous changes in the financial sector practices and regulations, the governmental mandates to digitize and optimize user experience, smaller players with more specialized solutions gain an opportunity to play with the big guys. And this is basically what happens when a financial institution has a need that Microsoft Cloud and their current partners cannot support. So This is basically a gap that is beyond the Microsoft financial planning when it comes to solution providing. What happens? Where do you reach out for support? You reach out either to a system integrator, someone who can create for you a custom solution on top of the usual Dynamics Azure Modern Workplace, or you reach out to the startup ecosystem for a more nascent solution, either a turnkey solution that you integrate into that financial institution, or something that has a closeness to the product that the financial institution needs and tweak it so that it matches that ask or that requirement. So this is where basically Microsoft for Startups comes in. So Microsoft for Startups bridges the gap between what the startup needs and what the market needs, particularly when it comes to fintech. So what do? We base all our activities on three major categories, at least in program. So we provide access technology. I'm sure Ali mentioned earlier the technological benefits that we offer, mainly from a Microsoft portfolio. We provide access to community and mentorship. I'll drill down into it a bit later. And we provide access to market. And this is something majority of my startups usually have a need for. So we've been doing this for a while, right? And our discussions with our startups, they broke down into the below 8 points. So a startup usually either wants to sell. So they need access to corporations, they need marketplace, they need co-sell, something if we do have time towards the end of the session, I will brush up upon. They need a channel to sell their product, and they need partners and partnerships in order to uh, penetrate markets, find more, create demand generation activities, and go to market with them. They sometimes want to hire. And in this case, particularly in this market, reaching out and getting accurate portfolios, getting clear recommendations is a bit hard. So basically, we tie up with particular channels that help our startups get better hires. They want to be featured, so they want to be featured in Microsoft and larger organizations. They want to be featured with partners like large distributors who have huge channel access. They want to be featured on socials. They want to fundraise. They want access to demo days. They want access to venture capitals. And this is basically our connection with Ali and Philip. They handle this very well. They want to learn. So they want to access information, content, certifications. So in short, they want access to the benefits, but they want to learn how to use them. Because what's the point of having a benefit if you do not use it? And they also want to be able to certify their teams, but they might not have the budget to pay for expensive Microsoft certifications. And this is where we come in. We dip into the local resources of the corporate local resources and get them budgets for them to do certifications free of charge. They might want a mentor. So particularly, it doesn't have to be the tech part, which is what I handle. They might want access to mentors who provide legal mentorship, who provide go-to-market mentorship, who provide exit strategy mentorship. And this is something that we're very active on, and it's being really well utilized by our startups so far. They might want a community, and that is very important. So it doesn't just have to be a tech community. Our channel is an all-in-all community. That means that our startups ask each other questions. We have local Microsoft, very active Microsoft people on that network whom they can reach out to. They want to be able to know whom to contact whenever they want to reach a certain resource. So, for example, I'm working in healthcare. I want to talk to the healthcare lead to see whether I can go to market with which partner I should go to market. It could be more on the I currently am raising my last round and I'm not getting the traction that I want. What do I do? So that's a big part of the community that we host, and we nurture it all on a Teams channel, which all our startups have access to. And they want perks and service providers. So Microsoft for Startups have their own perks that are provided to us by the team in US. So we inherit those perks, and they're quite clear. They're particularly Microsoft perks, Azure, Dynamics, Modern Workplace. But there are some other perks a startup might need. For example, my startup might need a sprint management solution. My startup might need a cheap migration provider, might need a cost optimization tool that recommends for me ways to cut down on wastage. So those are perks that we built particularly for our region, because the perks that are needed in this region are very will probably be different from perks that are needed in other regions like Europe or the US. My startups, for example, have been working from home for a while, and they might need to talk to a consultant psychologically, or they want just someone to talk to. So one of our perks, for example, is assistance for whenever someone wants to speak to a specialist who would make them feel comfortable via a free online service. So our perks are more customized, built in, and around existing Microsoft benefits. So far, so good. Do we have any questions so far? I can see one in the Q&A. What is SI, Radhika? So SI is a system integrator. So someone who basically creates thank you for the question, Radhika. And please, if you see any acronyms that are very Microsofty, stop me and ask what those are so that I can explain those to you. So a system integrator is basically someone who provides services on top of an existing solution. For example, I might have and let's say I might have a, a financial solution in house, but I want to be able to use Dynamics to communicate with that financial solution. I need to customize Dynamics for that communication. So in that case, for example, my system integrator is going to deploy my Dynamics and customize the middleware and the communications using, for example, Power Automate or Power Apps or APIs to make those two solutions speak together. So basically what integrator does is customize solutions so that they communicate with each other. Usually they are what I would call a service provider. How frequent are your investor demo days? So they depend on the accelerators we are having. So right now, for example, we have 2 accelerators. And during this period, we are having regular let's say regular demo days that are part of those accelerators. We do ad hoc road shows depending on the need. So for example, I get reached out by the corporate account manager of Fab, and Fab basically needs a particular set. They need, let's say, a KYC provider. They want a personal funds a startup, personal funds management startup, and they're not finding anything in the market. So we organize for them a roadshow, and this is more ad hoc. The more systematic ones are basically built into our accelerator program, that is GrowthX, and we do that twice a year on average. I hope this answers your question. Okay, I noticed that I'm blocking the screen with my Q&A. I'm sorry. Okay, so jumping back onto the presentation, we're gonna jump out of it a lot whenever you have questions, and I think the questions are more important than the actual presentation, so keep them coming. So what we did is we covered things from the high pillars of Microsoft for startups, and then we discussed what our startups want after like hours and hours of interviewing them and making sure that whatever they need is going to be covered by those 8 points. Will those points change? Yes, they definitely will. Are we going to continue doing that? And are we going to continue adding to those perks? We certainly will. Radhika asks, are these benefits only for startups using Azure? So the Microsoft for Startups program is designed around using Azure. Unfortunately, a requirement to being part of this program is a desire to use my Azure benefits. Does that mean that all startups that join our program activate their Azure benefit? No. Majority of them do. The minority are basically people who join the program at an inconvenient stage. People who are already hosting with other cloud providers or on premise, and they joined the program because they heard about it, but there was a shift in their priorities, so they never activated their Azure benefit. Those guys do not usually have the extension for the second year. So as Ali might have touched upon earlier, our program starts out with $25,000 on Azure for 1 year. Should you meet the extension criteria, you will get another 95 for another year. This is the program criteria so far up until the new fiscal year, and then that's going to be a different thing. But then if you do not build on Azure and you do not reach the minimum consumption requirement, you will not receive the approval for your extension. That means that you do get use the Office 365 and the Dynamics and the GitHub and Visual Studio and the other products. But at the same time, for the next phase, next year, you do not get the benefit of using that Azure credit. And the main idea of it is that Microsoft basically sets aside a budget from their Azure consumption, Azure credits, that is not going to be they're not going to be receiving any revenue from, and that goes to us. If a startup is allocated 25,000, that is basically a capacity in their data center in Microsoft's global data centers that they do not use, that's a 25,000 that another startup could have taken advantage of, and they were rejected because we did not have capacity. So it balances out. Now, if you are interested in joining a different program that gives you other benefits, there are other accelerator programs, particularly ones, for example, for GitHub. So if you want to join a GitHub accelerator without having to use Azure, without having Azure credits, then let me know. I can connect you to the people who are running the GitHub accelerator, for example, in India. I hope this answers your question, and I did not move out too much. I did not drill down too much. Mm. Just keep in mind that whatever benefits I mentioned are particularly for startups that are within our ecosystem. So it's particular for people who are accepted in Microsoft for Startups, Middle East. Okay, so how do I get the vendor buy-in? And this is basically touching up on Radhika's question earlier. So how do I get the vendor, who's basically particularly Microsoft in this case, to help me grow my business, to help me get access to market, to help me get partnership, besides the nonprofit side? So for us, we do that without expecting anything in return from you. This is Microsoft. But once you're out of the program, you are ready to go to market, but then you don't know how to go to market. You don't know whom to tie up with. You don't know how to get introductions to customers. You don't know how to get leads and tips on leads. So how do I get my vendor buy-in, particularly Microsoft? I need to speak his language. I need to be a registered customer, so I need to have a billing with Microsoft, or I need to be a partner who's providing a service on top of an existing Microsoft product. You need to have your solution hosted on Azure, because Microsoft is not going to sell a solution that is hosted on premise or a solution that's hosted with other cloud providers. And you need to publish this offer on Marketplace. Now, publishing on Marketplace means that there's foot traffic. There's foot traffic coming onto your product every time a customer goes onto the Azure Marketplace and searches for a product. So you get customer visibility. Also, for you, before you publish your solution on Marketplace, there is a phase of technology validation. That means that someone from Microsoft has gone into your product deployment and validated that your product is technically viable. And the last thing is, you publish on Marketplace to get certain perks. I'll be talking about those in a bit when I talk about the Marketplace. So once you publish on Marketplace, you get customer visibility, you get technology validation, and you get perks. Now, so what is the commercial marketplace? And this is not particularly a Microsoft for Startups perk. Our perk is basically we help you get onboarded on Marketplace, because Marketplace is something that Microsoft partners, existing Microsoft partners, are more familiar with. Whenever you're new to the Microsoft ecosystem, Marketplace is a bit complex for you to use, to leverage, and to take advantage of. Like, I remember when I was part of Microsoft, part of Crayon. This is another Microsoft partner and system integrator, managed service provider. We used to get leads from Marketplace. We had a billing that was beyond $10,000 annually. We used to receive a lot of lead generation on Partner Center based on the offerings that we have published on Marketplace. So for the rest of the session, I'm going to be covering 3 points basically regarding our Marketplace. So what does the Marketplace ecosystem look like? How does it relate to co-sell, and what is co-selling? And how do I publish my solution on a Marketplace? This hopefully will give you an idea of whether you want to be invested in an activity like Marketplace or not. So let's start with the commercial marketplace, right? It's literally what an online marketplace looks like. So instead of buying vegetables, you're buying technology. So it's a commercial marketplace. Basically, it's a place where publishers and buyers meet to trade. Now, the only people who are allowed to publish solutions on Marketplace are Microsoft partners, and that's the trick, right? So you need to be a Microsoft partner in order to publish your solution on Microsoft. And this means that you need to sign a Microsoft partnership agreement. So it's something very simple. It's an online agreement that you sign with Microsoft defining your commercial entity. So it will give you a tracking number, or what we call an MPN ID. And it will make you, let's say, define yourself as someone who wants to sell a product, someone who's selling a service, someone who's selling a combination of both. So it defines you as a commercial entity. So it makes you connected to like a trade license, bank account numbers, or something that verifies you. And people who work in finance and financial sector know how important that is. Creates a tracking number for you on the system, so that they can track all your transaction and activities and verify whether they want to collaborate more with you or not, and make you identify whether you're a seller, you're a buyer, you're a system integrator, you're someone who's selling a combination of both. Now, this agreement makes you eligible for a plethora of services. So it allows you access to information, learnings, templates, marketing collateral, billing support if you're having a problem with billing, and licensing information. The cool thing about this is that if you basically on Marketplace and you decide to use Microsoft as your billing center, you don't need to follow up with customers for collection. You get your payment back through the partner center into your partner, into the bank account that you mentioned when you were signing up. Now, I notice that someone anonymous asked, can you share with us the link to learn? Can you tell me which link you mean? I'm sorry, I skipped this question earlier. Um, okay, I'm just gonna leave this for now. When you're when you wanna look into this, let me know. Just explain to me a bit better what you mean by can you share with us the link to learn? Because as far as because the material I'm providing you do not have any link on Microsoft Learn. Those are basically programmatic activities that we cover internally, rather than something that you might see a webinar on. Okay, so going back to Marketplace, this is basically a place where you receive referrals, any referrals from our sales team, our internal sales team, and from buyers. So basically, partners can reach out to you, other partners can reach out to you to buy your solution, inquire about it. Microsoft sellers can reach out to you to inquire about your solution and buy it. And people who are customers, Microsoft customers, when they open the Azure account and go into Marketplace, they will be able to see your product. Now, um, putting it in a different way, your buyers are either dark customers, leads from Microsoft field sellers, or what we call field agents, and other Microsoft channel business. So basically, anyone who is transacting under CSP. CSP is Cloud Service Solution Provider. It's just a type of offering on which Microsoft sells you licenses. It's basically a type of license that Microsoft sells using channel. So people, other partners like yourself in the future would be selling that product. Now, your offering will have to be either part of a combination of Azure and Azure Marketplace, Azure Marketplace and AppSource. In short, you are hosting a solution on Azure, you are advertising it or publicizing it, or showing an offering or description of it on our marketplace. And our marketplace is either gonna be Azure Marketplace or AppSource Library. I'll break that down in a bit. So let me just make sure I have this right. Okay, so let's sum it up in something a bit clearer. The commercial marketplace is a virtual platform where you can engage customers and channel partners. You can leverage the Microsoft field sellers or field resources, and you put up the prices for shoppers and drive deals with customers. So basically, this is a place where you broadcast your solution. Microsoft sellers can see it so they can recommend it to other customers, and customers themselves can buy their solution directly from you. Now, IP co-sell is basically exactly what the name indicates. It's a way for you to sell with Microsoft. This is what it means that you're going to market with Microsoft. This is a bit of a digitized way of going to market with Microsoft. So if you get accepted into the IP co-sell program, Microsoft will incentivize channel partners as well as their field agents to sell your solution. That means that Microsoft will give a kickback to field sellers and channel partners whenever they sell your solution along with a Microsoft SKU solution. So people will be motivated to sell your solution if it's publicized on Azure Marketplace and it is IP co-sell. Now, you will also benefit from discounts on your own cloud spend. So if you're hosting a solution on Azure, if you're hosting a customer on Azure, you're spending money either from an existing benefit subscription from us, so you're using the 25,000 that we give you, or you have your own commercial subscription, which you're using to power that cloud spend. And in that case, having discounts and getting money in return instead of the money that you're spending is useful usually. Now, the more traction or transactions you register, um, the more incentives you are eligible for. So it's pretty much an incentivizing scheme wherein the more you sell on Azure, the more eligible for benefits you are. So let's put it a bit plainly. Microsoft Marketplace, Azure Marketplace is only a starting point. So you publish on Marketplace, you make sure that, but the end goal is that your solution is co-sell ready and incentive, let's say, incentive accepted. Now, previously, maybe a year ago up to recently, there was a requirement of consumption of $15,000 from your solution on Azure, as 5,000 over 3 months, like $5,000 of Azure consumption over 3 months to establish traction. Right now, this is no longer an exception. Everyone has, like, for you to be incentive ready, so co-sell incentive ready, you need to consume around $100,000 on Azure. On Azure. Is there a free trial scheme where we can access Azure Marketplace before we get into any contracts? So there's really no contract on Azure Marketplace. So for you to be eligible to publish anything on Marketplace, you need to be a Microsoft partner. A Microsoft partnership is not a paid agreement. It's just an announcement that you are willing, or you are tying up with Microsoft. It's a free agreement. You just basically are sharing your information and your billing information. So it doesn't really bind you to anything. That's the first thing. Yes, you can get on Marketplace. So if you have an existing Azure subscription, so if you're a customer, you can view Azure Marketplace solutions and buy them, or just view them. Let me give you an example. If you go to marketplace with azure.com, I'm just going to open up a I'm just going to open up one of my startups and show you what the Azure Marketplace looks like and what their offering looks like. So you'll understand that you don't really need an Azure account or an Azure, you don't need the Marketplace account to, let me know if you're seeing this. I'm guessing you are. So this is basically the Azure Marketplace. One of my startups called Deliver AI has published their solution. They have a Get It Now option. So it's basically connected to their system, to their Active Directory. If you click on it, it allows you to register for a free demo. Now, if you look here, and if I type, for example, cardio, you as a normal customer, without having to do anything, can look into solutions that, let me just go through this. You can look into any other marketplace published solutions. The marketplace is going to show a set of big system integrators and ISVs. For example, it's going to show you Barracuda, but it's also going to show you these smaller players like Deliver AI. I'm going to copy this link and send it in the chat so you can look at it at the time of your choice. Just go through there and look. This is basically your overview. Take a look at it and skim through it, and it's up to you how to publish your solution. I'm going to talk a bit about what you can publish, but remember, none of this is a commitment, right? So you're not signing any contract. You're just signing an agreement that identifies you as a human rather than a fake account that is signing up to be a Microsoft partner or signing up to tie up with Microsoft. So whenever you're publishing on Marketplace, and just to touch back on the concept of a trial scheme, trying out, seeing if it's feasible for you, does it work for you or not, the logical step is to see what are my options when publishing on commercial Marketplace. So for both Azure and AppSource. So Azure Marketplace, I'm going to say the word marketplace. Marketplace is divided into two. The Azure Marketplace, which is basically more on solutions, applications, and that are garnered towards like a product base. AppSource is more on usually a smaller app, SaaS solutions, connectors and add-ons. You're going to see in a bit, if you like look at the table, it's going to show you exactly what you publish where and how easy it is and what kind of solutions you can publish. So there are like 4 high-level ways to doing this. You can publish a list, a list contact or list free trial. So the one you saw earlier, the contact me for delivery AI, that's a list, but it's a free trial. There's a there's a BYOL, so bring your own license, and there's a transact. If you used Azure before or used any other cloud, you'll see that a lot of cloud providers onboard um, solution providers like security vendors. And when you onboard, you either have, when you use that solution, you either provision a template with a license encapsulated inside it, or a template and you bring your own license to cloud. So this is something you can do as well on Azure. And the option number 1 is basically the transact offer. Now, if you look at the left side of the table, the blue side, you're going to see that this is mainly Azure Marketplace. So I'm publishing virtual machine images. I'm publishing basically multi-VM, so a solution, a turnkey solution with multiple components. I'm publishing container images. I'm publishing managed services. And on the middle, the red checklist, basically I'm selling consultancy services or I'm selling a SaaS app. And this is basically whenever I want to do a combination of both Azure Marketplace and AppSource. My green side is basically purely for AppSource. So the stuff that is less complex, easy to go to market with, easy to publish. And this is basically if you have an add-on for Dynamics or Office, or you're using Power Apps. So I mentioned earlier that basically whenever you're working with co-sell, it's pretty much like a totem pole of benefits, right? So the benefit stage go from awareness all the way to sales enablement. Sales enablement means that the account managers aren't just sending you leads, they're collaborating with you, looping you into the internal Microsoft community to utilize to sell with Microsoft. Now, this is a very beautiful scheme and it makes a lot of sense for people who wanna work with Microsoft. But a lot of times that is not enough for smaller startups. So smaller startups usually would need to rely on internal activities like what we do for demand generation and for let's say customer acquisition. And this is where we try augment co-sell, which is highly reliant on how much you consume Azure, with our internal activities like the corporate days, the road shows, the accelerators, where startups meet meet corporations like Unilever, Akbank, EY, KPMG. Like for now, for example, all such or companies I mentioned right now, except EY, are part of a currently running accelerator. And the aim of it is just to make sure that the corporation that has a need will be able to dip into the local ecosystem of startups who might be capable of answering that need. I think this is all I have when it comes to co-sell. I don't want to drill your heads a lot with co-sell. I want to open the floor up to more questions. I'm really happy this session has been interactive when it came to questions. But for now, maybe feel free to unmute, ask any questions that you might have, and let's run with that for the remaining time of the session. Okay. Um, I'm not sure anyone has any more questions. So let me just yeah. Jodea, how would you like to take this?
Hello?
Yes, hi.
Is there any more questions? Come on, guys.
No pressure. They've asked their questions during the call, so I'm not gonna put anyone on the spot. But I'm hoping, Hand, am I saying this correctly? I'm hoping I answered your question and I did not just like get you lost in all the wording. Yes, mm,
Hello, Hande. I can see that you raised your hand.
Thank you, Sanya. Thank you. You did answer it very nicely. Thank you. It's good. Thank you.
okay. I'm very happy
Oh,
you're able to
clear.
get your
Thank you very
answer.
much. Thank you.
Lovely. So, okay, Mufida, you bit. Oh, maybe I'll share your email with Sonia. How about I share my email with you all? Hold on. I'm gonna send it in the chat. Thank you for reminding me, Mufid. So that if anyone wants to reach out, feel free to. Okay, so if you do have any questions about the in-program experience from Microsoft for Startups, so what happens when you join Microsoft for Startups, feel free to reach out to us. If you have any questions beside the program about our mentorship, about our community, about the roadshows that we do and the corporate access days, feel free to reach out again. I am positive that Ali covered the criteria for joining Microsoft for Startups. But if you do have questions about them, please feel free to either type them in or unmute and speak. Okay, I think this is it for us. Jodea, what do you think?
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for attending. And thank you, Sanya, for your time and effort today. We appreciate it.
Thank you. The pleasure is mine. And I would like to thank every one of you for bearing with me for 46 minutes.